to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news. I hope you're all doing fantastically well. Lots to discuss on the show this morning. Paul Pogba potentially reconsidering his future at Manchester United with the arrival of Ralf Rangnick. We'll also be talking about potential January signings and where Manchester United are on that. Quite encouraging news, in fact, on what they'll do and who the priority is. So very interested to talk about that with you. Also, the coaching system, coaching situation, what's going on there. We've also got Ralf Rangnick's press conference at lunchtime where I think we'll get more clarity on that. And the general development of Manchester United over the next coming days and weeks and what it means for Manchester United. Of course, Arsenal losing last night means that top four race is very much on very quickly. 2 wins in a row for us, 2 losses for them in a row, and suddenly a situation that looked quite perilous is actually looking quite positive. So lots to get into. We're going to start off with Paul Pogba as well. I do really want to just get in on the McTominay, Donny, Fred, Matic thing as well. Just a few interesting things there. And also Bruno seems to be getting a lot of unfair stick, which I want to address a little bit later in the show. But we're going to start off with Paul Pogba and what the developments are around him. As you know, with Paul Pogba, we've always been quite well briefed on this channel. If you've been watching the channel for the last couple of years, we've always been quite ahead of the game on the information that we've got on Pogba. Like, he won't leave this summer, he's not going to go, so where we are with Pogba I will tell you, but also some updates coming up around him and whether he's going to reconsider his stay at Manchester United. But as you can see, we are sponsored by Surfshark on the morning show. Today's show is sponsored by Surfshark, fantastic little virtual private network that you can get with a fantastic offer on the United Stand. One of the best things I like about Surfshark is their data protection services, making sure my private messages, photos, videos and other sensitive material is protected. But my personal favourite thing about Surfshark, and I think the thing that you're going to like the most, is that you can change your location on Netflix or other location specific based streaming services. You can watch them from anywhere in the world. So look, Netflix in America has different stuff on it from Netflix in the UK. With a virtual private network, you can set your location different to where you are. Therefore, when you log into those systems that you have, you will get the access to whatever is available in that system. So, and that works on other ones that have location specific streaming services. So that's something worth taking a look at. You can also use Surfshark across as many devices as you like, even if you're using it at the same time. So if you're on your laptop, you can have it on your phone, or other people in the house can use it. And Surfshark has even more features to offer, one of them being alerts. This feature will notify you when your personal information has been leaked online. So an alert system within the Surfshark product. And because Surfshark are super nice and they are giving United Stand viewers 83% off and 4 months free when you use the code United Stand. So you get 83% off, but you get the first 4 months free anyway when you use the code United Stand. So that's right. So link as always in the video description. Thanks again to Surfshark. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 months free with United Stand as your code. So if you've tried a virtual private network before or you haven't, definitely worth trying it out through that link in the description, because you get 4 months free and then 83% off. Thanks again to Surfshark. Now let's get on with the video, and from from surfing the shark to talking about Paul Pogba. So look, there was I was doing a watch along last night for the Arsenal-Everton game, up the Toffees, and it was a good result for us, actually. It really was. I was surprised Everton didn't win that, but Arsenal didn't win that, but what a goal by Demarai Gray, and it certainly helped us out. And look, Rangnick's been in the job for 3 or 4 days, and already order has been restored, and we are ahead of Arsenal. But look, I don't want Arsenal to be our rival. I want our rival to be Manchester City and Liverpool and Chelsea, and that's the journey that we're going to be on. And I think that's why we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about around Paul Pogba and the potential for Manchester United to bring players in January. So where are we at with Paul Pogba? Well, there's a lot to discuss about Paul Pogba that I want to discuss about over the coming weeks in relation to how he fits into this system. 4-2-2-2 suits Pogba, but he's not fit. So in a playing sense, there's no point talking about Paul Pogba at the moment. But what we can talk about is the fact that in January, which is only 3 weeks away, he can pick up the phone to Juventus, PSG, Real Madrid and say, "Do you want me? I've got Rangnick and Ed Woodward on speakerphone. Put the phone down. Oh, je voudrais, put the phone down. Don't worry. Read the rules. In January, I can speak to you and they can listen and do nothing. It's great." And that's what Pogba can do in January. I mean, look, Mino Raiola will have been speaking to clubs anyway on the quiet, but officially, Paul Pogba in January can speak to any club outside the Premier League, outside of England, legitimately to discuss a move in the summer, because that's what his contract works like. And it works the same for Jesse Lingard as well. So I was doing the watch along last night, and somebody said, Romano's just said something on a podcast about there's been a contract on the table since July for Paul Pogba, and he's going to reconsider it, now that Rangnick's here. And I was like, do you not watch the United Stand? We've been talking to Romano for a couple of years, ever since the summer when he was on. He said that contract's on the table. He said it numerous times on this channel and other outlets. That's not breaking news. There is a contract on the table, whether you want there to be a contract on the table or not for Pogba. And some people would say, why are we giving him a contract worth 400 grand a week? Has he justified that in the last 6 years? Has he been that sort of player for us? Whether you think that or not, the reality is the contract's on the table, and Pogba's like, I don't think I'm going to sign it. I'm going to wait till the end of the season. Now, where we're at now with Paul Pogba is that, and Romano mentioned it himself, is that the fact that there is a new manager with Ralf Rangnick, this is something for Paul Pogba to reconsider. Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the Pogba dynamic was he was leaving. He wasn't happy under Solskjaer. He didn't dislike Solskjaer, but he wasn't happy with Solskjaer. And to be honest with Pogba, can you blame him? We've already seen in one training session the contrast between a well-coached team and a poorly coached team. And look, Ollie's gone now. Respect him as an ex-player. I'm not respecting him as an ex-manager. We were bloody awful. And we saw on Sunday, and we'll keep seeing again and again and again, what happens when you have proper coaching. And this was the problem for Pogba. Like, Pogba was like, I've been here 6 years, where are we going? Now, Rangnick comes in, he's not trained with him yet. When Pogba comes back at Manchester United, he's going to see a very different system, with a very different approach, with a very attacking approach. This might be enough for Paul Pogba to go, you know what, Mino, I like it here. But, on the other hand, what I'm told, and what I've always been told, and this doesn't change, and I've been saying this since nearly a year now, is that Paul Pogba will not sign any contract until June, because he will wait until the summer to see what everybody offers him. Because Real Madrid in January might offer him 450 grand a week, but when PSG offer him $500,000 in the summer, Real Madrid might offer him $500,000. And in the summer, Man City or Chelsea might come in and offer him $500,000. Man United might come back and offer $500,000. So the story with Pogba is that he will still wait until the summer no matter what. But it won't do him any harm. It won't do Manchester United any harm if he comes straight back into Rangnick's team in January, enjoys his football and enjoys what's going on. But what I was also told this morning about Paul Pogba is, consider this. People are getting excited because Rangnick's so much better than Solskjaer. His football's more attacking. His football suits Pogba better. The 4-2-2-2 suits Pogba better because there's numerous positions for Pogba to play, whereas under Ole he was getting put out on the left wing. So yeah, they're all ticks in the box. Pogba comes back in January, plays really, really well. Oh, I'll sign a contract. No. Still going to wait till the summer because it's about his final contract. He's 28 and it's about other clubs will offer more money for him. So United would have to up their offer. Second point, who's the manager next season? What's Paul Pogba signing for in January, February, March and April when he doesn't know who the manager's going to be next year? He might really enjoy it under Rangnick. Next summer it might be Pochettino, So Pogba is going to be a problem. I was told that this morning. Not in a he's going to come back, and stick his tongue out at Rangnick and say, up yours with your bloody Gegan pressing, let me turn the radio on. Nothing like that. It's not that nonsense. But Pogba is going to be a problem for United because he's going to come back, want to play, not sign a contract. Until the end of the season, it's another audition trying to impress Pogba to get him to sign a contract that he won't really sign until the summer anyway, and in fact probably will still leave. So the information I had this morning is that if you wanted a percentage on this, then, and I always like a percentage, was that Paul Pogba is still 75% going to leave Manchester United, and that will remain no matter what until the end of the season. And even if he scores a hat-trick every week and he's player of the month every month, he will still wait till the summer and then he'll make his decision. So I said, well, what scenario can United fans who want Pogba to stay cling on to? And I was basically told this. The scenario would be, it goes really well when Pogba comes back. He becomes a massive player. He loves Rangnick. They potentially win a trophy. They look like they can compete for a Premier League next year. And most important of all, Manchester United match any bid that anybody else puts in the summer. And I said, so serious that realistically, he could play really well. We could get we could win the Champions League, but if United don't up the offer to what PSG and Real Madrid are offering, he won't sign. I said, well, and the answer I got was, well, we don't know that, but United will have to up their offer to match what everyone else is going to offer him in the summer regardless. So we'll see what happens, but I think it's going to be something that gets resolved in the summer. And as I've said before, it's not ideal. It's not ideal for Pogba, it's not ideal for United, it's not ideal for Rangnick, it's not ideal for the fans, because if we are in a Champions League quarter-final in March, and or whenever it is, April, and you know it's the last 5 minutes, it's 1-1, and Pogba's the last midfielder because we've been caught on the break, and it's a 50-50 against I don't know, Lewandowski, and he doesn't fancy it because he doesn't want to get a knee injury. You know, that's the problem for Pogba, or he does do it. You know, it's not ideal having a player in his last 4 months of the contract when you're trying to be competitive, but this is the situation that United have created over the last 3 years. It's nothing to do with Rangnick. Do you think we could finish above Liverpool if they got riddled with injuries? Says Ducks Duck. And Zayn Miyasi. I don't know why you're laughing, Zayn. You must be just, you know, in some sort of depression. You're in a right mess. You're in a right mess. Anyway, that's the latest on Pogba. Joshua's brought up something I was going to mention anyway. Samuel Luckhurst of the Manchester Evening News this morning has said that Rangnick and Murtaugh will be looking to get a midfielder this January. Apparently there will be discussions over Christmas time, because we have got a week. We've got a week over Christmas to discuss transfers in January, and that a midfielder is a priority. Now, this is music to my ears. This is classic ABBA. This is fantastic. Voulez-vous, voulez-vous, aha! It is great, because I think in general in this community would love to buy a midfielder. So this is good news. And I've got a little bit extra to add to that. If a new midfielder comes in January, do you think Van der Beek will leave, since it's becoming clear McTominay is always getting a free pass, says Joy Deep. Look, McTominay's played one game and he played because we were a winning team. I do think McTominay will play against Norwich, and I'll tell you why in a minute, but I'm not convinced that. Look, I'm not convinced that Fred or McTominay are the future of Manchester United's midfield under Rangnick. I just think at the moment that they played well. Well, Fred played very well at the weekend. McTominay was okay, but it's one game. We need a midfielder regardless. You know, it's not about. I think people go, "Oh, Dalot's our new right back. Piss off Wan-Bissaka." No, we need depth. We need to be encouraging all our players, and the key thing is rotation and form, so that there's competition for places. Pogba or no Pogba, I really think United have a chance of the Champions League number 4 with Rangnick in this squad. See, I don't like that sort of conversation, Mark. I mean, respect to Mark, but I don't like that. It reminds me of Arsenal. It reminds me of Zayn. They win a couple of games, they think they're going to win the league, and then reality bites. I don't want any discussion about winning the Champions League, catching Liverpool. Like, we've had one game, one training session, and we've still got, you know, the poor performances that we've had for the last, I think, 6, 7, 8 months are still there. They're not just going to disappear. You know, we're getting manager bounce. We're getting a new manager, but I still think there will be problems ahead. I'm not going to start predicting anything. I just want to enjoy the development and accept that in that development there will be bad results. Like, we could have drawn the game at the weekend. We could have drawn that game. Mark, please teach these glorified fans who keep mollycoddling Ollie. He's gone. We are literally moving on. He was a great player and a crap manager. End of. Why don't people understand that? Michael, you know what? I'm not teaching anybody anything, because do you think Pogba really wants to play for United, says Matty Ross? I don't know. Super chats will get you a Ferrari, says AJ Man. I've got no problem with any Manchester United fan continually talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think it's weird. We didn't do it with Van Gaal. We didn't do it with Mourinho, and they won trophies. But, you know, the proof will be what many of us have spoken about. We've got a proper coach now. You know, this sentimentality FC nonsense is gone. And we saw that at the weekend. Like, it's literally the players that Ole picked with tactics, and we haven't had that. So I don't know why people are still talking about Ollie, but let them talk, because ultimately he's gone. It's in the past, not coming back. So, you know, just keep talking about it, and eventually they'll come round to the fact that this is a new United. Whenever Robertson is dropped and Tomiskas starts the next game, Robbo pulls a world-class performance, and it should be like that with Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. Yeah, I just want to see competition, Lucas, because I think that's really, really important. But going back to the midfield situation, that's what we were going to talk about. So, look, I want to very quickly talk. You know, yesterday we spoke about was it Chris Armas, the American coach who's going to come in, and we've got the psychological coach coming in. Hopefully we're going to get somebody else in. I still hope we'll bring Jesse Marsch in, who was, I think it'd be difficult, but he was the Leipzig manager. He's just recently left them. I think he'd be a brilliant person to bring in the short term, because these people all know Rangnick's system. But the reason we'd be, and I think Rangnick will give us an update on this in the press conference at lunchtime, so I'm not going to say too much about that. But remember, we play Brighton on the 18th at Saturday lunchtime. We don't play until Monday the 27th. So we've got 9 days without a match. And I suspect this will be the time where it gives Rangnick and Murtaugh time to sit down and look at players for January. That's basically, we go hard until Brighton, and then the players get a bit of downtime, and Rangnick does some structural work. And I think this is where we will talk about the January transfer window. So when Samuel Luckhurst of Manchester Evening News mentions Manchester United having a chat over Christmas, I think that's what he's referring to, because there's a big week there where Rangnick can be talking to Murtaugh about players, and he's also had a good 3 weeks assessing the squad. So there's plenty of time to do that then. And also, I think it will give Rangnick the opportunity to make a few calls and see what's available, etc. So I think it's a really correct time for United to look at it. Now, look, Amadou Haidara at Leipzig is a player that it's too obvious to say that we're going to go for him. Varane could be back for Norwich, Benji, so that's good news. It's too early for it's too obvious that Amadou Haidara at Leipzig, who's 23 midfielder that we've mentioned before, would be coming to Manchester United. But he was at Salzburg, he's at Leipzig. Rangnick knows who he is. I think his agency is the same agency that Rangnick's worked with a lot, with Kimmich and Werner. So it's a very obvious signing, and sometimes the obvious signings means it's not going to happen. He's also available for about 30 million quid. So look, he could be a very, very easy-ish option for Manchester United to go in January. It's not a massive fee. It's certainly within United's grasp. I know they were looking at Trippier under Ollie, and I think they would have gone for Trippier under Ollie, but with the Lowe's developments, you've just saved yourself 20 million. Use that towards a midfielder. And to be honest with you, Trippier should not be coming to Manchester United over a midfielder anyway. We're desperately going to need at least one number 6, because Rangnick loves to play those two midfielders like he played McTominay and Fred. It's a very energetic role. Who can do that role? It doesn't look like he wants Donny to play there unless he plays in there tomorrow, and Matic hasn't got the legs, and then there's nobody else. So we've got to bring somebody in, because I don't think Pogba can do that role really. So Haidara would make a lot of sense. I'd certainly welcome it. The only thing I would say about that is if we buy him, he will be part of the African nations in January. We don't have an amazing amount of games in January. We've got the FA Cup, Aston Villa, and I think there's only 2 Premier League games in January, if I just double check. And just because you're playing in the African Nations Cup doesn't mean you're playing there all the way till the final. So yeah, in January, and also Manchester United very rarely buy somebody on the 1st of January. We didn't buy Bruno until the end of January. So, but it could make the deal difficult, is what I'm saying. But yeah, we've got Wolves on the 3rd of January. Then we've got the FA Cup against Villa on the Saturday the 8th. Then we play the following Saturday against Aston Villa again in the Premier League. That's at Villa Park. And then we play West Ham at home on the 22nd of January. And then you'll have the next round of the FA Cup after that. So 2 FA Cup games and 3 Premier League games in January. No Carabao Cup because we're out of that. So, we could still do the deal and he comes back after the African nations. I would like to see a player like that come in, because it's very difficult to buy a player in January, as we know. And he's sort of low risk at 30 million quid, 23 years of age. It fits the profile of what Rangnick would want. Certainly fits the system. And it's a player that comes in, and if he impresses, he goes straight into the team. And if it takes a little bit of adaptation, you can afford to do that because you've still got the players that you had anyway. So very logical signing for United. I think over the coming weeks, and we will be linked to other midfielders, especially now we know that we're looking for one. But absolutely essential that we go for a midfielder. I said this yesterday. For the last 2 years, this is a position that, you can criticise Ollie about a lot of things, but I always said it, so it's not like I'm kicking him when he's down. I never understand why Sancho, Varane and Ronaldo came into the club and we didn't get a midfielder. You know, McTominay and Fred under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer were dreadful, absolutely dreadful, and he kept picking them. And the improvement under Rangnick is great to see, because it just shows you how poorly set up tactically we were. But you know, Solskjaer should have brought a midfielder in. I'm glad he didn't now, because would he have brought the right midfielder in? But January, if this club is ambitious, use the January transfer window and bring somebody in. The good thing under Rangnick is that we will see the younger players get a lot of game time, and we'll get very good development of Ralph and coaches, says Tyrese. Yes, I would agree with that. Renato Sanchez, look, I don't know whether Renato Sanchez would even be considered a player for Manchester United that they would look at. I would love Nagelsmann to come to the club. I think it'd be brilliant for Rangnick to then move upstairs, but he's a Bayern Munich manager and he's German. Does he want to leave that to come to Manchester United? I very much doubt. I think he's living the dream at the moment. But look, let's just say the other side of the coin. So yeah, Manchester Evening News reporting it. I think it's very logical that United will sit down the week before Christmas and discuss with Rangnick options in January. He's probably one of the best managers in the world you would want for a January transfer window, because I imagine Rangnick will sit down and say to the board, we desperately need a midfielder, and they'll go, wow, can we get one in January? It's very difficult. And he'll go, well, here's my list. That's the great thing about Rangnick. I think under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer especially, he might have that conversation with Murtaugh and say, I'd like to get a midfielder, and then they go, yeah, very difficult. We've got these people in mind, but we'll do it in the summer. Rangnick's going to talk back to the board and say, well, look, here's 4 or 5 options. You can definitely get one of these. These would be perfect. So I'm excited about that. Are you bored of Pogba after 5 years of mediocrity, says Jay? I do like Paul Pogba, but I do feel that he's leaving anyway. So if he stays, I'll assess that then. But my feeling and what I've been told is that he will go. Like 75% chance he's going to go. He's not going to sign a new contract anyway until the summer. So, I just choose to ignore the Pogba circus, which is obviously run by Mino Raiola, and just say, look, let's see what happens. But he can still be a very valuable player for us this season. If we let Pogba go, it's like divorce couple, nothing against Pogba, says Jay. Yeah, we spoke about that before, haven't we? But look, also what's very interesting, we've spoken about Paul Pogba, but I think that week where we're talking about players potentially leaving the club, we'll also be talking about, joining the club. We're talking about players leaving the club. I still think Donny van de Beek is not set in stone. His agent has been doing a lot of work to find Donny van de Beek a move, because the expectation was that Solskjaer would still be in charge all year. And Donny very, very, very closely went to Everton, a couple of months ago. He'll still be looking for a move. Lingard, again, wasn't getting much time under Ollie. He was looking for a move. For Jesse and Donny to change their mind, you're going to have to see them getting real first-team opportunities in the next month. Is that going to happen for the both of them? Of course it's not. So I can see one of those 2 players looking to get a move in January. Look, it's only one game, and Lingard was ill for the game at the weekend. So would Lingard have started that game? No. Would he have come on instead of Greenwood? Potentially. So Lingard, who knows what's going to happen with that. Donny, I think it's going to be very interesting to see where Donny starts on tomorrow night. Is he going to play? If Donny van de Beek starts in the positions that McTominay and Fred play, there's a chance. If he starts in the position that Bruno and Sancho plays, I think he may as well leave, because he's just not going to get a lot of game time. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with that realistically. But I do think I would expect that the team to start against Norwich, I can't normally do this, but I think the team that starts against Norwich will be the team that started against Crystal Palace. And the reason for that is, I think what's going to happen is we're going to see the reserves play tomorrow night, and that will be an opportunity. But we did beat Crystal Palace 1-0. And I don't think Rangnick's going to change the team based on a good performance by anybody tomorrow, because I think what's going to happen is he's going to make 11 changes tomorrow, which allows him to then give the first team who don't play a really big session on Thursday, and then obviously Friday's a light session ahead of the Saturday game. Whereas if he plays his first team against Young Boys on Wednesday, he's got to give him a day off on Thursday, so I think that, and whoever plays on Wednesday will have a day off on Thursday. So I think it's highly likely that we're going to see 11 changes against Young Boys, and then the starting 11 against Norwich will be the starting 11 against Crystal Palace. So, you know, in a way, the timing of Rangnick coming in has served a very good purpose to the first team that played against Arsenal under Carrick, because there wasn't time to change it. They've taken their opportunity and won the game, and we're settling into this again, aren't we, where, you know, people who want a chance probably aren't going to get many chances over the next few weeks, which is going to have a big impact on whether those players want to leave or not. Although in the fullback positions, it's definitely benefits people like Delot and Tellez. I think you're saying Pogba will go is a win-win. I think you're just saying Pogba will go as a win-win, says Luke Haynes. I don't know. I don't think I'm saying that. Fingers crossed we start to see a bit of Ahmad too, says Kieran. Potentially we could see him tomorrow. Yeah, I think it'd be very interesting to see that. But just wanted to talk about it very, very quickly. Bruno Fernandes. I am Himanshu. I'm 7 o'clock tonight on United Stand. It's me, because there is Champions League tonight. But I'll tell you what I'm doing on the 7 o'clock. The presser is at 1:30 UK time, so we'll be live at about 2 with that one. But I did just want to talk about as well. I consume a lot of things about Manchester United, and I like the written word. So I've been reading a lot over the last sort of 24, 48 hours, and it's interesting because on the United Stand player ratings that we do after the match, where you get a lot of votes. Ronaldo got a 6 average. I think Sancho got a 6.5. De Gea got a 6 average. Maguire got a 6 average. Bruno got a 6 average. And I think the only 2 players who got less than average was Rashford and McTominay, who both got 5s. And I was looking at, I can't remember who it was, so I'm not going to call them out. It could have been Sky, it could have been Manchester Evening News, but it was one of those sort of outlets. I was looking at their player ratings yesterday, and they had 6 for McTominay, 6 for Rashford, 4 for Bruno Fernandes, and I was like, God, this is just the great thing about football, is you can get completely different opinions. But I was like, are we drifting back into what I've been talking about for a long time? You know, how is Bruno Fernandes scoring 2 points less than a Rashford and a McTominay when our community, which I think is a lot fairer, was, you know, much fairer in the scores? And I gave McTominay a 6 because I thought he'd been better than he had been recently. So the only one I thought was slightly below was Rashford. But I don't think Bruno was terrible at the weekend. I think that, you know, there was some good crosses. You know, I think he was average, but I do wonder if Bruno is going to start becoming the next scapegoat. And it's a funny one, because I think that, you know, if you say Bruno, well, let me just pick 2 players. So if you say Bruno had a good game, had a bad game, but Rashford had an okay game, no, that doesn't really work actually. If you said, because Rashford was playing up front, wasn't he? So if you said Bruno had a bad game, but McTominay had an okay game, well, I disagree, because I saw good crosses from Bruno, I saw good pressing from Bruno, and from McTominay, you know, he had half the touches Fred had. He made a quarter of the tackles, he made half the passes, and a lot of the time, again, he was sort of moving into spaces where he couldn't receive the ball, which we've seen him done before. So I just think the difference between Bruno and McTominay's performance wasn't so efficient that you should go, Bruno was crap and McTominay was okay. So I look, I've said it, this is the second time in 2 days I've said this now. I said it yesterday about people saying Wan-Bissaka's shit, let's play Delot all the time. This is meant to be Manchester United. This is meant to be under a new regime. And I will keep calling it out. I'm going to call out the agendas, because I don't want to see this attack on foreign players that we've seen for the last decade at Manchester United, certainly from the media. And I don't think it warrants to carry your agendas over from Solskjaer into this. It's a clean slate for everybody, and I think people should be judged on what they're going to do. And I do think that Bruno Fernandes has probably got the hardest job out of anybody to adapt to Rangnick. Not because he's not good enough to adapt to it, but under Manchester United, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, his 2 years at the club have very much been the reason that we got into the top 4 2 years in a row. His stats are ridiculous. What we were talking about last week, is it like 75 goals and assists in 100 games? Like, massively important. But that's because basically we were reliant on these moments from Bruno in a very pragmatic defensive side. We're now going to become a very offensive pressing side, and that means that Bruno's going to have to adapt his game. So I just want to see a level playing field where people are criticised fairly if they need to be, and I certainly don't think there was a hell of a lot to criticise the performance on Sunday. Morning Mark, do you think Mata and Donny will have more game time now? No, Mikhail, I don't see Juan Mata having much game time at all. 79 goals and assists in 100 games actually, says George and Sally and Jay. Bruno's becoming the new Pogba, and Bruno won't be quiet like Pogba, so this could get out of hand if we don't start playing better. These fans are spoilt, says Milverton. And Rashford is playing like he doesn't want to be at United more. Either that or he's lost his love for the game, says Ziggy. And slightly off top, I don't think he's lost his love for the game. I mean, look, for whatever Rashford does off the field, he needs the focal point on the field to benefit him off the field. So, you know, it's like anybody, whether you're selling trainers or doing fantastic charity work. You know, we saw it with Lingard. You know, a few years ago, Lingard was all, you know, J-Lings and, you know, adverts and this, that and the other. And, you know, he started playing crap. He didn't get in the team, and that all went very quiet, didn't it? So I don't think Rashford's fell out of love with the game. Slightly off topic, Mark. I feel almost at ease when I see Alex Telles on the team shirt. One of my favourite players to watch right now, says Matty. I'm enjoying seeing Telles, and I think it's nice to see him getting some game time. I'm a big fan of Luke Shaw. I think he's had a bad season this season, and let the competition commence. But you know what? I rewatched the game against Palace. Certainly watched the first half a couple of times now because I really liked it and I wanted to just watch it again and analyse it. And I liked Lindelof. You know, he was almost becoming a midfielder at times, and I think that this system benefits Lindelof more than it benefits Maguire, because look, Maguire's going to keep getting picked, but if Luke Shaw can be dropped for Telles, then Maguire should be dropped for Lindelof, because Varane's our best centre back. Varane has to play, and it's going to be Varane and Maguire. But Lindelof in that game at the weekend, look, Lindelof's weak, like actually weak when we play part of the bus football, which we did under Ollie. He's physically weak. He's not very strong. When he has to defend is when his weaknesses come out. But when he's defending from the halfway line, when he's allowed to read the game, push forward with the ball, run and get the ball before it even gets to the halfway line, that's when Lindelof, as a proactive centre-back, becomes quite different, quite decent. And Varane likes to be the cover centre-back anyway, so Lindelof and Varane could be very, very interesting as a centre-back pairing, and that will be very interesting because we don't know about Rangnick yet how hardline he is. Like, would he drop the captain, who cost us £80 million, to play Lindelof and Varane because it's better for the team? Or would he go, well, look, Lindelof and Varane probably is better, but it's not a massive change, drop-off to play Maguire and Varane. So that would be interesting, because there's, you talk about Telles, you talk about Delot. In that system at the weekend, Lindelof was our standout centre-back because he was harrying and he went to get the ball. He's actually quite good on the ball. But it will be Maguire and Varane because Maguire's the captain. Hi Mark, is there any news on Varane? I miss him, but I am glad because it seems United are taking time for him to completely recover. I think there's no rush with Varane. It would be nice to have Varane back for the Brentford game next week because that's difficult. It would be nice to have him back for the Brighton game as well, but I wouldn't be rushing him back for Norwich if we don't need to. I hope Hannibal gets more of a chance soon, says Clinton. Well, we've got the FA Cup, haven't we? And DK says, I mean, it's bad. People should be xenophobic, wrote it a bit wrong. Shouldn't be xenophobic, wrote it a bit wrongly, but it's human behaviour and it needs to be changed, says DK. I'll just keep bringing it up. At the end of the day, I just don't think any player at this point should be being, you're right, it's human nature. People will have players that they don't like and they will bring it with them from the Ollie era, but it's such a different world we live in now. And I watched bits of the show last night, and look, I love Ricky. He's not a big fan of Bruno. He never has been. You've got to respect it, but I'm not going to listen to what he's going to say about Bruno because he didn't like Bruno when Bruno was doing well. So if there's an opportunity to say he didn't do well at the weekend, of course I'd expect him to say that. But I do like Bruno. I think he's a very good player. I don't think anybody should automatically start for Manchester United. I think that's been a mistake of the last regime. Nobody should ever be a first name on the sheet at Manchester United unless they are playing brilliantly each week. And I think we saw a deterioration in that ethos where we were picking people who weren't playing well on reputation. But you know, it might not work out with Bruno. It might not work out. He's not signed a new contract yet. It might not work out. I'd be very surprised if it didn't, because he's a very good player, and there'll be no shortage of clubs wanting to sign him. But is that not the definition of a new era, of a new United? Is that, nobody's safe, and let's wait and see what happens. If it drops a 50 million right back, why not Maguire? Says Kushina. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? We'll have to wait and see. But we do have the press conference coming up for you. It's at 1:30. We'll have Rangnick talking to us, and then we'll be live straight after that with the reaction. So looking forward to seeing that, because I think we will get... one thing I wanted to say as well is that I do feel that Ollie was protected, and we know why he was protected, because he's a legend of the club. There was a lot of his ex-teammates in the media, and the media did take it easy on him in interviews. I remember when Mourinho was in charge and Van Gaal was in charge, and just keep this in your head, right? Because we'll mention it on press conference reactions as anyway. Van Gaal and Mourinho, their questioning at times was, rough, like almost rude. Like they were very in on them. No, Ollie never got that. And I think, we know why Ollie didn't get that, because he's a legend of the club. So I do expect the questioning of Rangnick to be far more intense than Ollie ever faced. But the flip side is that Rangnick's just very, very abrupt and in depth in his responses anyway. So I think we're going to get better press conferences, because I think he'll get tougher questions. I certainly don't think they're going to ask him about the Ryder Cup, or what it was like, Haaland every game, everyone. So I think we will get better questions. Hi Mark, it's my birthday today. Love from Nottingham, St Anne's. P.S. I think we need more players to read the game like the Bible, says Shaq Wilson. Well, happy birthday, Shaq. I know St Anne's and Nottingham, obviously, and I hope you have a good day. Mark, if Bruno doesn't work out at United, all other players at club except Ronaldo are in trouble, says Andy and Bruno. And Bruno is a good player and only good at playing for Ollie. He's lacked discipline because Ollie's let him down. Do whatever he feels. Ralph won't let that happen. And Milverton's hit the nail on the head there. Spoke about this before we'd even appointed Rangnick, or he'd even started coaching the team. But whether it's Scott McTominay, Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, Bruno Fernandes, Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, you can name all these players, and I would argue with you, and I would argue with them, they've not been developed over the last 3 years. Whether you like those players or don't like some of those players, they haven't been developed. Tactically, they've not been developed over the last 3 years. There's been no development of those players at all. They are the same players they were 3 years ago. Scott McTominay's the same player he was 3 years ago. Rashford's the same player he was 3 years ago. They've not been developed. They're still, you look at people like Rashford, still not getting his head up. Still not looking to play a pass instead of trying to wiggle his way through and get a shot off. These things will change. And you're right, the same with Bruno. Bruno was always looking for a Hollywood pass under Ollie, because he knew he might only get the ball 3 or 4 times in that sort of position a game. Under Rangnick's going to say, calm down. You're going to get the ball in this position of the pitch 15 times a match now. You don't need to go for the Hollywood pass every single time. Let's use the ball and go for an easier pass and move it forward. So development's going to happen now. Please shout out the South African United fans from the International School of South Africa. Sammy, let Pogba go. Sue, says Sanka. Well, big shout out to the International School of South Africa, and everybody all around the world. All around the world. I'll see you for the press conference reaction at around 2 o'clock UK time on this channel. Smash a like, make sure you subscribe. Take care. I'll speak to you all in a bit.